Welcome back, Officers Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief, APGAINS. I'm not going to waste too much of your time. We're talking roster building. We've talked about the core 8 teams, the best 8 free-to-play teams in the entire game. We've talked about the 6 auxiliary teams that you put with those core 8 teams to help you progress through the mid-game. And now we're talking about the 6 heavy-hitting backbone teams that are going to help you beat GLs, beat the whales, because just like you guys, I also have to play people in GAC with millions of more GP and many more GLs. So I know the struggle. I know you were feeling the same pain. So I'm going to show you 6 teams that are going to help you kind of defeat those high-level players and kind of punch up. Now, these are more endgame teams, so if you're 2 million GP, these are probably unrealistic for you, and you'll notice that right away, but we're going to hop in here nevertheless and help you guys out. So first, Mandalorians. The Mandalorian comp that you want to run is up to you. This is probably going to be the most likely one I'll run. As you see here, I'm 5.77 million GP, and I don't even have Maul, right? We're talking kind of late mid-game, early end-game stuff here, but this is crazy. This team is a gas-level team. Great on defense, great on offense. You need to hold or you need to beat stuff, he's your man. Not much else needs to be said about Maul. He's fucking fantastic. Starkiller. Starkiller is another character that, I should be working on. I'm going to wait a couple of months until all of his characters become accelerated rate. He's like the Dr. Aphra that we're getting. Oh my god, Dr. Aphra. So maybe she'll make her way onto this list in a year or whenever she happens to hit the holotables. But this is a GL level team in Grand Arena, right? We're talking PvP, we're talking Grand Arena with his Omicron, plural Omicrons if you want to put all of them on him, but he only really needs one. This is a GL level team. You can place it on defense, you can place it on offense, kind of like Maul, right? These are going to be a lot of teams that are going to have offensive and defensive flexibility. Same thing with the auxiliary team. Well, not so much the auxiliary teams because they're more specialty teams. But, if we go back to the core 8 teams, those are all teams that are going to be good on offense or defense, going to get you max banners on offense, going to get holds on defense, right? I'm only going to give you teams that are going to be as effective as humanly possible because, let's be honest, we don't have thousands of dollars to spend on this game. We can't have everything. We have to have the most important tunes. Starkiller definitely one of them. Now, this is a controversial one. We got Malgussi. I just got Malgussi to Relic 7 like a week or two before his Datacron is going to go bye-bye, so he's going to be a lot less good on defense, but not like I could place him on defense anyway because I don't have another Relic 5 Sith for his Datacron. Side note, Datacrons, they suck. But he's going to do some amazing things on offense, right? He's going to do some really good stuff on offense. Maybe if I can get my talent up to R5 or something like that. Maybe if I can get some Sith up to R5, I'll have a usable defensive Datacron team. But this guy was a GL on defense. This guy's been the most annoying end-end, super-end, cutting-edge game team. And, this is end-game stuff. This is late mid-game, early end-game, stuff. A lot of you guys aren't going to have Malgus. I barely have him myself, right? But he's good. That's the backbone team. We've talked about core. We've talked about auxiliary. We've talked about GLs. We're talking backbone. These teams are hard to get, but they're going to give you a lot of good stuff. Next, we have the Titty, or the Titty unlock requirements as they were. We got Admiral Radis, Cassian, Biston, Jyn Erso. K2SO gives you the best possible defensive hold probability. I'm not going to relic my K2SO. I slot in like Hera Syndulla or something like that because I have her at R5 for Datacron purposes. I'm hoping we get another, Datacron for Rebels or Light Side or something good to kind of give me a boost because, side tangent. I had like a Datacron for every single team, and now I barely have these are duplicates, so I run like 1, 2, 3, 4, basically 4 Datacrons. I know a little bit of a side tangent. I'm sorry. I just got really upset real quick because they took all my fucking Datacrons away from me. But, a requirement for the Profundity, which is, the ship in the game right now. And this team actually does hold its own. I would sub out Biston, obviously, for, SRP or, literally anything else that's also at a relic level. But, I mean, let's be honest. We're not rich. We're not going to be having, the greatest AdRad team of all time. But because this team is, the requirement for the best ship in the game, and also a decent defensive team in its own right, gets some solid hold percentage, and also has some kind of offensive viability. It's a backbone team because it's value. It's value. I know the R8s, the R9s suck. I hated them just as much as you guys did, but they're important. Next, we have Jedi Knight Luke. Now, Jedi Knight Luke is probably the first backbone team that a lot of players are going to have. You can run them under Jedi Knight Revan Lead. Like, this is kind of what I used to use to kill SLKRs, and then Datacrons came out, and then I would just, undersize SLKR because of Riposte, and now I'm probably going to transition back into using this. Maybe I'll relic my Basilisk, and this will just be my permanent SLKR counter. And for those of you guys who are endgame players and like, why would anyone put SLKR on defense? Little side note, you're 4 or 5, maybe even 6 million GP. You're playing 7, 8, 9 million. I think our last opponent was 9 million GP. We're 5.7. He's got all 6 GLs. Sometimes when you're out GL'd, out GP'd, out ships, people place weird stuff on defense because they know you're going to have a tough time. So for those of you guys really quickly who are like, why would you place SLKR on defense? I get it. He's got great offensive value, especially fighting Lord Vaders and Malguses and stuff like that. But it is something that people around the end, the late mid game, early end game will see. And, this guy is fantastic. He's a requirement for JML, which is another great Galactic Legend. His team is pretty easy to put together. Lots of Get One involved in HOTA, but, you also get some Wampa action. It's fun stuff. Last but not least, this is the team that I really want to work on right now, as opposed to any of the other teams. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, and that's mostly because of Dash's Datacron, which is hilariously good. You can sub out Hondo Inaka, as you guys know. That was just I've never done a gamble pack, a whale pack in my entire life, but I had my viewers on stream sponsor the 7-star Hondo, and then we got him from Gear 8 to Relic 5 free to play. The most painful experience of my life. I will punch myself in the dick next time I even think about doing that, which I probably won't ever think about doing that again. But he's a great character. He's fun, and any scoundrels can kind of slot into this. Vandor, Enfys Nest, Dash Rendar are great. Bam can kind of be slotted over to a Maldalorian team. He's got his own Datacron. If you guys are super endgame and you have like a Fennec team, he's great for the Lord Vader counter. But this Scoundrel team can kind of be mixed and matched. You can throw an IG and Queel if you have him Relic. You can do a lot of weird and wacky stuff with this team. But Dash Rendar and Vandor Chewie and, throwing an Enfys Nest and then whoever else. This team is going to get stuff done on defense. It's going to get stuff done on offense. It's going to be fun. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wacky. And I'm just really excited to see, what I can do with Hondo Inaka, because that smile, man. I feel like when I do this, I feel like his smile like tracks you. You know what I mean? Like if you start doing this, I feel like the smile stays with you the whole time. But exciting stuff from the Scoundrel faction. These are the 6 backbone teams. Again, the classifications for backbone teams is they got to have value. They got to have offensive and defensive viability. They got to help you punch up. They have to have at least an outside chance of beating GLs, depending on Datacrons, depending on relics, depending on mods, all that sort of stuff. And they're just all around good squads. And just to quickly recap, we got our core teams. We talked about these are the best 8 free-to-play teams in the game. We got our auxiliary teams, which are going to do some special stuff to help us counter some niche stuff. And then if we plug that all in with some backbone teams, maybe 1, 2, 3 Galactic Legends, depending on our millions of GP, and we got a good roster, right? We've been efficient as possible. Obviously we got to have ships, and we'll do other videos talking about ships and stuff like that. But we've done the best that we can to put together a great roster with as little resources as possible, with as much offensive and defensive viability, as much punch-up power, giving ourselves the best chance to win. Now, while I slowly choke on something and pass out and you'll never see from me again, I'm going to say goodbye. As always, I love you, and I'll see you later. Subscribe.